Hello Flosstube, it's Lori of Mischievous Stitches. I want to welcome all of you to my channel today. I'm very glad that you're here. It is a beautiful day in South Carolina. It's 77 degrees. It is warm, it is sunny, the wind is blowing. I have the windows of the house open so that fresh air can get inside. The birds are chirping, my wind chimes are making beautiful noises, and I am soaking up this warmth. It feels wonderful. The thing is, it's only supposed to last a couple of days, and then the temperatures will sink again to the 30s. But the thing is, spring is on its way. It's almost here, and I am looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the warmer temperatures. With that, though, in the winter, in the early spring, I seem to stitch more in the winter than I do in the spring, because when it's spring and it's beautiful outside, I spend a lot of time in my yard and out doing things before we hit the sweltering heat of the summer. So you will see a decrease in the amount of things I share, but I will keep stitching. I just won't be stitching as much. So this week I have several things to share with all of you. I have a couple of finishes. I have a little bit of haul. I have some past finishes, but I want to start off with answering some questions. I had several questions on my last video, and it's not that I ignore the questions. I usually just answer them in the comments below, and this time I decided to keep track of my questions this week and answer them here in case anyone else has the same question. So one of the things I was questioned about was my focus pieces that I do list in the description box below my videos. One of the items that is listed there is the Margaret Cotton Sampler, and I did pick that whip back up in January and was stitching along on that one thread a day. When February rolled around, I started a sampler story, and I was using my Sweetheart Tree Love Squared as my one strand a day. So with that being said, to answer the question, I am still working on Margaret Cotton. I do plan to finish her this year. It's just that I picked up another whip to start focusing on that one, but I still keep Margaret listed below as a focus piece. And if you'll notice also, anything that I have finished recently is listed as a finished with the designer, the pattern name and the designer in the description box below. So if you ever want to keep up with what I'm working on during the year, what I'm focusing on, what I've finished, if you're interested, it's down there for you to see. But most importantly, so if you want to hop out and get the pattern yourself, that information of the designer name and pattern is listed there. I was asked about the bright needle piece, the 1/1 bright needle piece that I shared in my last video. It was a previous finish, and that piece is called Elizabethan Garden, and it was, like I said, by Bright Needle, not Britter Cup. I don't know whether I actually said Britter Cup in the last video, or if that's because it's a similar name, if that was what was heard by the questioner. But know that it's by Britter Cup, not by Britter Cup, it's by Bright Needle, and it's called Elizabethan Garden. And I have to thank Jessica of Schoolhouse Stitcher for jumping in and commenting with the name of that pattern, because I had given that pattern away and could not remember the pattern name, and she commented with that information below in the last video. I want to share with you real quick, because it'll kind of caveat until the next question. I want to share with everyone a finish on my daughter Jordan's Afghan. I finished it actually this morning. I added she wanted tassels, and I did put them on, but I kept them a little shorter than on the last one I showed. So I'm gonna scoot my chair back, and I'm gonna hold it up and step back so you can see it. So you can see the tassels down below, and I did, using the variegated yarn, I did a double crochet stitch all the way around. Now that is something I'm going to need to work on in the coming weeks. I can do it, as you see, but it's not as beautiful. It's more simplistic than the Afghan itself. It does the job, but I want to learn more. That's basically all I'm saying. So I got questions about my Afghans. This is the third one that I've used this stitch on, and this is called the Larksfoot stitch. I have it listed below in the videos. This is the one that I taught myself to crochet an Afghan with. I found the tutorial on YouTube, and as I said, I've listed it below. And I got a question from Kay Richard about how many stitches wide this one is. I believe the pattern calls for just an even number. I used on this one 150, I chained 150 stitches to start this one. The last one I showed with the blues and the grays and the khaki color that I had finished for my daughter Chelsea, it was 100 wide. So it's all in what you want. I know the one that I did for my father, the first one I did that one in the 150 stitches. So as I said, this is it. This is the Larksfoot stitch, and these 2 rows make up this stitch. So I have one color stripe is actually 4 rows, and 2 rows make up the Larksfoot stitch. So I've repeated the Larksfoot stitch twice for each color. So thank you all for cheering me on my Burger King Afghan finish. I'm very happy to have it done. I'm going to gift this to my daughter Jordan tomorrow. I've already sent her a picture. Actually, her daddy took a picture of me with it as I was finishing it up and sent it to her. So she will be receiving this tomorrow. And I'm going to take a couple of weeks break, and then I'm going to start on another one because I have 3 children, Jordan, Chelsea, and Jacob. And for many of you, Jacob has visited with me several times on my Flosstube video. He is currently in Montana serving with the U.S. Air Force. He is home from Italy. When I say home, he's back on U.S. soil, but he is in Montana, and he wants to know when he's going to get his Afghan. So I can't let my son down. I'm going to get those yarns within the next 2 weeks, and then I'm going to make a start on his. So that may be a start. I make it probably sometime towards the end of March. So I'm going to put this right here like I had when I started. I like being able to see it in the background in my videos. My video, not videos. Let's see. Ort containers. I showed these Pioneer Woman, I call them sauce jars, sauce bowls, in my last video. And I picked up this one because I really like jadeite. There's another one that I purchased, which was milk glass. There is a blue and a tealish blue color glass one as well as some more Pioneer Womanish, which is the polka dots and the flowers. There's 4 other colors of those. But someone, it was Eileen D, asked what was the purpose of an Ort container. It's just something I enjoy. It's for catching your orts. When I say catching, as you're snipping your threads at night, instead of them landing on the your chair beside you, or with me, with the couch beside me, or my throwing them into the floor, I put them in a little container that sits on the base of my OttLite. And my current container, so you can see, is this one. I bought this from a pottery place in North Georgia, in Helen, Georgia actually. And they were just little, they had made these tiny little bowls from remnants of clay as they made larger containers. And I just love the paint on it. I love pottery and glass anyway. So this just really stuck out to me. Let me show you the inside. And I really love the swirl of whoever made it. I assume that's their finger as they shaped the bowl. So this is what currently sits on my base. I have another one. I used to bobbinate all my threads. I don't anymore. I use floss tags. And when I bobbinated my threads, I used the little Loran boxes that have the multi separations where you can put mini bobbined threads in them. And this is one that my dad made for me, and it worked really well because it would slip into one of those openings in that box, and I could close the box. And this one, my dad, he's got his name on there. You can barely read it, but he's got his name is here, and he made this November 28th of 2011. And so I will put my orts inside here, and then it just keeps them secure. Some of the other things that I've done with my orts, and this is just on display in my stitch room. This is just a container with yarn orts with just basically snippets left over. I know that there is a designer, and I think it is Tanya the Scarlet House, will put her orts outside this time of year for the birds to use to make their nests. That's another thing you can use. Do I need them for anything? No. I have used them to stuff small pin pillows. That's something else. So you can reuse, recycle with your orts. The thing I found with stuffing with them is it was lumpy. It's not as much of an even feel inside the pillow as with a poly feel or a cotton batting or something of that nature, but you can definitely use it for that. This past year, in one of my early videos for this year, I shared this. This is what I did with my orts from last year. I kept them, and I wanted to give myself a try with etching glass, and so I got this flat round ornament, and if you can see that here, I etched 2020 into it, and this is all of my orts, including crochet orts from last year. And I just ripped up some homespun and used some twine, wrapped the homespun around the twine to make a hanger. And this is an ornament that I'll put on my tree next year with my orts. And just so you see, I've already started with 2021. So I'm gonna do it again next year. Got a different font stickers than last year. You can see, if you followed me with Southern Land, you can see the Southern Land colors. And then that's something else that's so neat, is I can look in here and tell you what projects I'm using because I'm putting them in as I finish them up. So the one at the bottom is going to be Uber Turkey, and this will be Southern Land, and this will be this week's finish right here, Love Squared. So Eileen, I hope that answered your question. It's not something we have to do. It's just something maybe we enjoy, or you can help the birds build their nest with them, but it's just a thing. The other thing is Southern Land. I have it here. Hold on just a second. Someone asked me about my piece Southern Land, and I'm going to share it with you again, and asked if this piece was stitched with cross stitch only. Yes. It was 40 count, I believe, and it was one strand over 2 linen threads. Was it 1 strand or 2? Don't quote me on that. It may have been 2. 2 strand. It was strand. I think it was 2. Don't quote me. I'd have to look back into my records. But the question was whether or not it was stitched with just cross stitches. There's not a single specialty stitch in here. The special parts of the sampler is the finished sampler. It is just beautiful, those motifs. I'm holding it upside down. This is Southern Land. But the special part of it is just the finished sampler. Those motifs are beautiful. It's 4 colors. I'm gonna link my friend Lisa below, Lisa the Silver Stitcher. She just started this piece. I used the DMCs on mine, the called for DMC or suggested DMC, but All Forest Embroidery has their own conversion for this, for threads that you can find on their website, and Lisa is using theirs. So I'm gonna link her below, her Instagram, so you can go take a look. She's a Flosstuber as well. I'll link both of them below, so you can go take a look at her start, so you can see the difference between the DMC threads, which is mine, and hers with the variegated from Al Forest. Okay, let me flip over. Let's see if we got any more questions. Nope, that was it. That was all the questions that I had last week. I have posted a couple of things this today that I'm doing, and one of them was a finish on the Sweetheart Tree LOVE squared. Let me share it with you. I really love this. Now that it's finished, I think it's beautiful. The white needlework around those, in those outer boxes, are just beautiful. The Lazy Daisy stitches were so fun to do. I do have trailing threads on the back, which I normally do not trail a thread no more than 2 stitches, but with this I was putting in beading, and I will trail a thread from one stitch to another over a good distance with beading, because I want them to stay secure. And but I will only do that if you can't see the shadow of the thread from behind the work. So, but I'm really enjoying this. I've got an idea in my mind about how I'm gonna finish it. I saw something on Instagram today. I don't wanna share it just in case I can't execute my idea fully, but I'm gonna work on it this weekend. If I can get it done, hopefully I'll have a finish for you next weekend. With something so small, I don't want to have it framed, but I want to share it to you a little close up. So you have the white flowers are Lazy Daisies, and I'm calling this lattice work, but it is just half stitches, so just one leg of the cross stitch one way or the other. There's also some beading in there, some pink beads. There are these things here. They're not rondelles. What are they? I put glass sequins, I think, when I posted a picture of this on Instagram. I know that's not the proper word, but I can't remember. But can you see that? And then the fabric itself is iridescent. Filaments blended in. The sun's starting to come in the window, so it's right in my eyes. So forgive me for squinting, but I was whining earlier this week about the back stitching. If you do not like back stitching, you need to consider that when you're choosing this particular pattern to stitch. It is chock full of back stitching. Every one of the border boxes was outlined in back stitching on both sides, inner and outer. There's 2 boxes, so that's 4 boxes total. When you get to the leaves, those are back stitched. There's 3 that have the back stitching. This one has vines. All of them have vines. All the vines are back stitched. I have some French knots here in the top of these flowers. Those weren't that bad to handle. I don't mind French knots. I think my favorite specialty stitch, and a lot of people, when I say people, I mean my local stitch friends, they don't like the queen stitch. I love it, but I'm left-handed, and they say that's part of the reason. I'm not sure about that part, but I really like them. And the other is Lazy Daisies. Look at the way those finish up. I mean, I want it to catch that, not my face. I think they're gorgeous. So thank you all who cheered me on and just gave me a kick in the pants that I needed to get this finished this week. I finished it late last night, and once I got going on it and I was close to a finish, I could not go. I lost track of time. It was like being in a time warp. I'm thinking it's probably 12 o'clock, and I come downstairs to go to bed, and my husband's asleep. And I look at the clock on the stove, and it's 3:20. So I'm gonna have to catch up on a little bit of sleep tomorrow morning, or either go to bed early this evening to make up for the time I'm stitching this. So here is the pattern. This is the Sweetheart Tree. It was a kit, and it says it is the Teeny Kit Collection, so there must be multiple kits for teeny stitches from the Sweetheart Tree, and this was one of them. I don't know if it's still available. I just wanted to share that in case anyone was interested. The thing that I'm focusing on this week is a sampler story. Now, I have primarily worked on the Afghan, and LOVE squared this past week, so I've not worked much on my focus piece, which I've worked very little. So here is a sampler story. I just got a little more work done in this square here, and I think I had some leaves put on this one, and that was it. So this one will be 6 squares wide, 4 squares high. And I hope to have at least 2 of those squares finished before next week. Let me show you the pattern picture. The pattern, and I keep showing you that this picture come off the pattern, but this is it here. So 6 squares by 4 squares. And I'm stitching it 1/1 on a 25 count linen. So this past video, I shared my goal for this week. So from last weekend to this one, what I wanted to do was finish the crochet Afghan, finish LOV squared, and I wanted to finish at least one of the two boxes on my sampler story that I had started last weekend that I was just sharing with you. So I didn't quite meet my goal, but the weekend isn't over. So I am pretty sure by the time I go to bed tomorrow night, I will have the tree done, which is going to be this one, because it's just a tree. There's nothing around it. I will have the tree done, and I will have met my goal for the week. So I'm very happy with that. I don't know about you all, but when I make a goal, I do something. I'll put something in there that it's a little something that will test me, something that I know may push me past my goal or cause me not to reach my goal, because it gives me something to reach for. So I knew that I could finish my Afghan. I knew that there was a great possibility I would finish the LOVE square this week, but I wasn't sure about the sampler story, and I was right. But if you recall, I gave myself to the end of February. February is what? Is it Monday? I think I can do it. And I think I can do it before tomorrow. But here are the threads for sampler story. They're beautiful threads. They're all jumbled up as I've been using and pulling from them. But those are the colors for that little sampler. I have watched a lot of Flosstube this week. I don't always comment. I do, however, try once I've sat still, I've been stitching, I've been watching my friends. What I will do is go through and just put a few hearts so that they know I was there. Just want you to know I was there. I want you to know that I'm watching. So I just want to go over and just name 3 of the ones that I've watched this week. They may be, you're probably familiar with them. If you're not, I'm going to link them below so that if you're not familiar with them, you can go take a look for yourself. There's Jessica, the Schoolhouse Stitcher. She's been MIA for a few months, and she put out a video this past week. I love the things that Jessica chooses to stitch. We have very similar taste. And some of the things she says just cracks me up. So I just find her funny. And she's a friend in real life. So if you've not watched Jessica, the Schoolhouse Stitcher, I will link her below. There's Sarah, the Clumsy Stitcher. She's a UK stitcher. She's just jumping out on Flosstube. She's only done, I think, 2 or 3 videos. I'm going to list her below. So if you've not seen her, you can go have a look and welcome her to Flosstube. The other is Michelle, Mama Loves You GB. She's been around for a little while. She puts out videos weekly, her Sunday videos. I love watching her, so I'm going to link her below as well. If you're not watching Michelle, please do, because you're missing out if you're not. So let's jump into haul. So this week I don't have much, but I found that Notforgotten Farms, which is Lori, she is on Etsy and she was having a sale, and so I'm looking through Etsy, and of course it is suggesting cross stitch patterns, and they were on sale, so I purchased a couple and I want to share them with you. So one of them, I like to get the hard patterns. If I can get the patterns, I don't want to do a PDF. because my printer, just because of my printer. So I accidentally on one of them ordered a PDF. Now I can print them, but I never know if my ink is dry or even if I have any ink at all. So I've got to get that one printed somewhere else. But here are the other 3 that I ordered. I want to share them with you. This is Notforgotten Farms Jingle All the Way. And the patterns, most of them were 20% off. I ordered them, I don't remember which day, but they actually come today just before I did the video. And I have seen several of you stitch this up, and I'll probably change the colors on him, but I really think he is just so cute. And this is Blue Belsnickle. I love her names. If you look at her Etsy shop, as I said, I'll link that below too. If you look at Notforgotten Farms Etsy shop and just read the pattern names, I just find them humorous. And the last one is Tomato Season. I really like this one too. And it's not a traditional red. It looks orange in the video, and as I was looking over the colors, it's 918, 919, which is a real deep orangey red, and I'm looking, 919 is one of my favorite DMC colors, so I'm looking forward to stitching this because of the color palette. I can't wait to pull them all together, all the DMC threads together, and they are DMC. There's no overdyes. And then I had a lady that contacted me and sent me a copy of one of her patterns. And this is a Wicked Stepmother. She has an Etsy shop. And this is the Blue Bunny pattern. Unfortunately, like I said, I didn't have color ink. I only had black and white ink. And it doesn't show you a beautiful picture. It's the beautiful picture. It just shows you a black and white, and it's a little muddy, so I apologize for that. But to make up for that, what I do plan on doing is I'm going to pull the threads and things together, and this will be a new start for 2021. And I'm going to start this one this month, probably this weekend or next. And that way I can share with you the colors for the DMC, call for colors, and give you a better look of how it is. If I was smart like many of you, I would have a picture pop up right here and say, this is the pattern. I'm not that techie, but there's that. So in this coming week, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna focus on a sampler story. I'm also going to pull the threads and give a start to the Blue Bunny pattern. And I had made I said in my last video as well, I was going to make a small start on a new sampler, and I did, but it was one long top row, nothing special, just a row of stitches. So I didn't want to share that here. I wanted to wait until it was a little more interesting. But however, as far as interesting, I did bring down a couple of previous finishes that I wanted to share with you. And the reason I chose these finishes is because of Love Squared. There's lots of specialty stitches, beading, those kind of things in this piece. And in the past, I have stitched them. And I would say this would be my late 20s. I had stitched a couple of these. I really love them. Both pieces are by the designer Full Circle Designs. I don't know the designer's name. I don't know that she is still designing, but I do have at least one or two more of her patterns that I haven't stitched. This one is, I don't remember the name, but here it is. So this one, I don't know if let me see if I can hold it back. Look at that bright blue mat that I chose. Now this, this is in my half bath upstairs in my stitch room, but it says windmills spin and kites fly high like floating velvet butterflies. Wind chimes whisper, summer days like endless cotton cloud parades. Let me see if I can come over this way. No, that sun, he's been restricted for several months. He's wanting to shine. So he's doing it now. But there's that. Can you see it? I am so sorry. This is a Mill Hill, not a Mill Hill, just another button company button. Oh, that sun is fighting for my attention. Okay, this is my other. I love these colors. I can remember where I was when I was stitching this. I was sitting on a front porch swing in Fripp Island, South Carolina, just like last weekend. And I was working on this, but this one is called Moonshadow's Path. It also has one of the Just Another Button Company buttons. I had it matted as well, but it's not as garish as the other one. So we have eyelet stitches, we have beading, we have back stitching. One of my favorite parts of this one though was the beading here. They look like little raspberries. They were several pieces. You would pull your needle up and you would put 5 or 6 beads on, and you would go down and you would repeat that in rows around, and it made a little berry. But when I frame this, I've learned a lot about framing since I had this one framed. And what ended up happening was I got a very narrow frame. And instead of them suggesting that I put in spacers, or my knowing that I needed to ask to ensure that they put in spacers, they didn't. So you can you see the bump? It is still too thick on the mat board for them to frame it. And so they've got it pressed right up against the stitching. The beading and the glass sets flush up against that button. But you stitch and you learn. So that is that, Moonshadow's Path by Full Circle Designs. I hope everyone has a great coming week. I'm running from the sun. I'm running from the sun. Soaking it in, but running from it. I hope everyone has a great coming week. I hope everyone crosses all the stitches that they can. If the sun is shining bright in your area, soak it in. And hugs and stitches. Bye-bye.